Hello, my name is Kyla Clarissa, otherwise known as CrazyKyla. The reason I'm making this video was I wanted to do something new and different. I'm a video blogger from Toronto, Ontario. I come from Windsor, Ontario, and basically what I do with my video blogging is I put bands live on the internet, and I interview them and try to go to band practices and stuff like that, and promote for the bands because, music makes us all happy and that's what connects us. So that's where I want to stay in. So the reason for this video was I wanted to do something different. One of the things I thought, is I tend to write a lot and I write poetry and, lyrics and things like that. And it doesn't seem like I'm making the effect I want. I kind of want to change things, and the only way I figure I can change things is basically I have to start with myself. And I've been on this journey for a long time now. I'll give you a little history. I'm from Windsor, Ontario, and a long time ago I was told that I couldn't have any kids. So I ended up with a guy who had a kid, and we started a tattoo shop, and after the tattoo shop, we ended up, moving a few times and whatnot, and we ended up, making these plans and stuff. So I had all these plans in my life because they told me a long time ago I couldn't have kids. I've had medical problems my entire life, and it's been a very hard journey with that, I'll tell you that much. And I've always come to Toronto to sick kids to basically, you know, I don't know, get taken care of and stuff like that. So I've always come to Toronto to, visit. My uncle lived up here and whatnot, and I visited with him, and then we went shopping and all that fun stuff. And I always thought I always wanted to live here. So we'll fast forward a little bit, and we'll talk. I'll tell you about me and Jody. We got together and whatnot, and like I said, he had a kid. And after the tattoo shop and whatnot, we ended up moving into my house that I grew up at in Windsor on Church Street. And I ended up pregnant. And for me, I was really shocked because they told me I couldn't have any kids. Like, a lifetime of medical problems and stuff like that. They're like, okay, you can't have kids. You have too much, things down there that's, scar tissue and whatnot. So I was like, okay, well, no problem, because the way I figured it was I made a plan in my head at 40 years old, I would adopt some kids and, my life would go from there. So I had all these plans. Well, guess what? I ended up pregnant, and all my plans went out the window. Not only once, at 25, I got pregnant once. Then at 26, I got pregnant again. So I was really overwhelmed with this whole situation. Okay, I'm pregnant and I have two kids. And then my son was about 6 months old, and I ended up a single mother. And I was really lost, like very, very lost, because I didn't understand quite, I don't know, I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing with my life. Like, I had no job, I ended up on welfare, like, I was alone with two kids, and that was not how I pictured my life. Like, like I was always a good student, I had good grades, I went to college, and boom, everything was changed. And I had, a lot of surgery after that. I had a surgery right after I had the first baby, or second baby, and they gave me a hysterectomy, so no more kids for me, that's fine. And then another surgery, and then I decided, okay, that's it. So after Jody, he moved to Burlington, I decided, you know what, I'm going to do something for me. So I moved to Toronto. I thought, you know what, this is the only time in life I can do anything, and if I'm going to make something happen, it's going to be now. So I moved to Toronto, and my first apartment was lovely, other than the fact it flooded over and over and over, and I had surgery again. And then it flooded over and over and over again. And at the time, I was helping a band called Sex Without Souls, and I was helping them with their MySpace and promotions and stuff. And they requested that I come out. I was doing this video blogging stuff from home because I was bored. And I did the video blog from their concert. And from there was another gentleman that I knew. And he said, okay, well, why don't you come to our next concert? So the rest is history. Basically, it snowballed from there, and my hobby went wild, and I basically started blogging, or vlogging, every weekend, and it's been 4 years, so totally awesome. I love the bands, and I love doing it. I love the whole aspect of being, in the front row and, you know, interviewing the bands and getting to see them. You know, like, I'd like to be in a band, but that's not going to happen anytime soon. I got to get rid of this whole stage fright thing, which is part of the, you know, finding my inner self and my authentic self. So, yeah. Anyways, so now, year after year after year, things have happened, and I'm basically okay. So, my first place in Toronto flooded and flooded and flooded, and then my second place, I moved finally, and I flooded more. Actually, I flooded out, and I pretty much lost everything. But one of the things that I ended up with on the top shelf of my book was this book, and it's called Simple Abundance: A Day Book of Comfort and Joy by Sarah Ban Breathnack. The reason I'm making these videos is because I've read this book more than once over the last few years, and it basically has little inspirational thoughts and quotes and things like that, and it tries to basically help you focus on, you know, having inner peace and enjoying, you know, the comfort and the joy of every single day, rather than looking forward or looking back thinking, oh, I should have did this or should have did that. It helps you basically focus on what you should be doing daily rather than tomorrow or last week. So I'm going to read some of this stuff, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts on how I'm going to apply it on my life. So hopefully it'll help you, and maybe you can get a copy of this book and, you know, read your little snip from the day and go on from there. So today it talks about the person you're meant to be. So for me, the person I was meant to be, obviously that's changed over the last years since I, you know, had kids, and I had you know, all this stuff happened with, you know, my medical issues and stuff like that. You know, like, I started this vlogging business, and look what's what happened. You know, I started, and then I had to stop. I had surgery. Then I started again, and then guess what? I had to stop and had surgery. And then everything was going fantastic last year, and it went great, 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 great. And then last thing was like in November, and I did Monsters Amok, and yeah, I was yellow, and I ended up in the hospital, and I dropped, like, I don't know, 25 pounds or something, and yeah, I almost died. I had, I guess, a blockage or something where my gallbladder used to be, so it was making everything blocked, and my levels in my whatchamacallit, pancreas and my liver, they were basically about to shut down. So I'm lucky I went in when I did. So I'm here for a reason, and I made it this far for a reason. This was last year. So it took me a long, long time to get back to where I am now. I'm, you know, not even as close as to being as healthy as I was. I feel a lot better. I'm not as tired as much anymore, and I've gained a little bit of weight back, which is good. And you know, I'm happier, and I focused more. So after that happened last year, I lived, after the big flood, I moved to this place on Dawes, which is basically the concrete ghetto is what I call it, and I lived there 3 years, and I tell you, I can't believe I made it through that 3 years. But yeah, now I live in a house. I moved again finally, and I'm going to stay here probably until I don't know when, but I lived here now for almost a year, and for the last year, after all the drama and stuff that's happened and all the craziness that's happened in the last 4 years, I really got lost, and I really needed something for me to focus on. And, you know, yeah, I have my kids and stuff, but if you're not really happy within yourself, how are you supposed to be, you know, the person you're supposed to be? This is what this talks about, what person you're meant to be. If you're not happy, then you can't, you know, like, so my authentic self basically is who I had to focus on. So I looked in the mirror one day, and I realized that, you know, I'm looking back at someone that it's not who I thought I was going to be. And I thought about, well, what do I want to do with my life? What do I want to, where do I want to go? Where do I want to be? So I ended up, you know, deciding I went back to school, and you know, I just finished school, I graduated, and now I have to focus on, you know, getting the business out there and stuff, which I am. It's going to take a long time. Applying for grants and stuff like that takes a while, but, you know, I'm still not giving up, and I'm going to keep on going. So, yeah, so basically what it talks about is finding your inner self. Okay, so one of the things that they're talking about is displacement of self. That's what I had last year, and throughout a lot of this year. You know, I didn't know who I was. I couldn't pinpoint where I was supposed to be, what I was supposed to do, you know, all that stuff. I felt really like I was living an outer body experience where I wasn't actually being me. Yeah, I was day to day and everything was good, but it wasn't good all at the same time, so I know it's kind of weird, but yeah. So what this talks about is trying to find your authentic self. So for people like you, people watching, you know, it could be something simple as, you know, I always wanted to take guitar lessons, or I've always wanted to go and see, you know, the Empire State Building or anything, right? What it is looking into yourself and figuring out what you really want and who you want to be, and how you're going to achieve it. It could be just, you know, you want to be a better mother or father. It could be, you want to be really, get that job at work or whatever, or you want to change careers altogether. Like, it's basically finding our authentic self is finding a way to make yourself happy, you know. The journey of finding who you are and where your authentic self begins with you figuring out what makes you happy and where you want to go with it. So my suggestion, what I did was, I started off making a list. Okay, there's 12 months in a year. You don't want to do it 52 weeks because it's too overwhelming to try to accomplish something one thing at a time, like 1 week at a time. It's better to just to start off small. So set a goal, one thing a month, something new you want to do, somewhere new you want to go, something new you want to try. It could be taking a class, it could be anything, but basically it's focusing on what you can make yourself, how you can make yourself happy, so you can actually meet your authentic self, where you can, find a nice middle ground and take your steps little by little to get there. So I made a list of 12. So for January, basically, my authentic self, I don't know what my first one was. I don't have my list, but I think my first one was, trusting my gut. I am very bad at trusting my gut. My gut tells me one thing, and I do not listen, and it's unfortunate because it would have saved me a lot of drama and chaos over the last few years if I would have just trusted my gut. So first things first, that's what I'm going to do, is trust my gut. And it could be something as simple as that. I just encourage you all to think about it, and yeah. So I'm going to try to make videos as much as possible, and I'm going to continue with the simple abundance and talk about what I read, and hopefully, you can get the book too, and, follow along or just watch these videos, and it'll help you a little bit, and hopefully over the course of the year we'll all be truly inspired and have a little bit of more inner peace, and we'll enjoy the comfort and joy of every day rather than, dwelling on the past and whatnot, because it's all about today. Like, that's what's, having medical issues has taught me. I thought about this for a long time, and I never been one to plan other than, my whole life plan, but you never know if you're going to be here tomorrow or the next day or the next day, so you should enjoy each day as it comes, and basically that's all you can do. So yeah, hope you all have a good day. Subscribe to my channel, and check out my other channel, which is Ivy Toronto, and add me to Facebook, Kyla Clarissa, or add me on my fan group, CrazyKyla, or join the group Ivy Toronto on Facebook. And yeah, my website will be up and running soon, so you can check that out too. And yeah, I hope you all have a good day. Subscribe to the show, post any comments and whatnot, so that way I can improve myself. So I'm sharing myself with you, and hopefully you can share yourself with me on my journey of inner peace.